and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. The podcast that you know. Deuce and Mo.
Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know.
Do it for Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. Hey. Do it for Deuce and Mo. When it comes to the Kings, it's my favorite show. Do it for Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. Hey. Do it for Deuce and Mo. When it comes to the Kings, big hopes and dreams as we cover our kings. Never cover the kingdom, but we loving our kings. And we covered your prayers as we doing our thing. Big Deuce with the pod, Lil Mo on the screen. Solo or together, still do it for team. Never switch up for $1 or revenue stream. So we always got each other, balance out the beam.
Deuce and Mo, and that's the end of the thing song.
Do it for Deuce and Mo.
We are live! Oh, it feels so good to be live on a Monday when Shams and Woj decide to do some fucking work.
Oh my God.
I'm just fired up because we get some.
Working blue.
Okay.
Like, I don't care. You know I appreciate the enthusiasm.
You should definitely point it out every time. How are we doing, everybody?
do
Hey,
the
what's
same.
up?
Hey, Morgan.
Hi.
I'm rooting for y'all.
Oh,
Let's go, Kane.
seriously, the NBA offseason. Last week it reached a point where it's like, oh, we are arguing about really dumb things.
What were we arguing about?
I'm not talking about specifically us,
Yeah.
but we as NBA fans. You know,
Oh, yeah,
it's
the
like,
cities.
hey, the trading day,
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
Uh-huh.
oh, this is happening. Even Draymond last night's board. The same thing I was doing watching like Game 5 of the 98 finals. And Draymond's like, I think our Warriors team in 2017 would have beat the Bulls and Jazz. And every show in America, producer is writing down, we got to hit on this tomorrow.
They're hitting on that?
I don't know about now because there's other stuff that came out, is my point.
That's true.
Overnight, Woj, Shams put out stuff, and now we get some action. We get some KD movement, some Donovan Mitchell movement, some chatter.
I like the chatter.
Morgan, are you just trying to cut down everything I say today?
No, because you know
there's
what?
movement. There's some noise. I mean, what do
The
you want
noise, and I appreciate the noise because the noise, even in Sham's piece, obviously it was talking about how like everyone's looking to go on vacation, not so fast, kiddos. You know, so
Yeah.
the noise is real if you're having to put a stop on your vacay. But will anything actually happen is where I like just have my own opinion.
Christian says Mo is going to lose her hearing because of Deuce's energy. Well, maybe.
No, I like Deuce's energy.
Happy Monday, man. Make sure to hit the thumbs up. That's the biggest thing you could do before we get started on the podcast. Hit the thumbs up because it helps our channel grow. Also, hit the subscribe button. We appreciate everyone hanging out with us. It may be the NBA offseason, but I swear every single year there's some crazy shit that happens where it's like, hey, Harden, Simmons. It's just there's always some big star that's on the move. And this year it's the Kevin Durant noise. It's the Donovan Mitchell noise.
Even if Kevin Durant wasn't part of this, Donovan Mitchell, like that whole situation is still so interesting, especially when, you know, they're looking for all those picks for Donovan Mitchell, which is just what an interesting journey that's going to be.
Monty McNair picked up the phone apparently, huh?
Well, I think everyone should.
Monty McNair calling Danny Ainge to talk about Donovan Mitchell. All right, let's stop wasting time. Let's get it started. Deuce and Mo coming down in 3, 2, 1. Hit my music.
Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. The podcast that you know.
Welcome into the Deuce and Mo podcast, presented by our friends at NBA Top Shot. And it may be the offseason, but there's so much noise now. I'm so curious, Morgan Reagan. How are you?
Oh, thank you. I'm good. What are you curious about?
just the timing. I woke up, I don't know, probably around midnight last night to do a little tinkle time.
That's when you
And-
saw the news?
Yeah, because then I have to like go read to fall back asleep. It's just trust me on this, okay? I can't just like go back to sleep. My mind just starts going.
Yeah.
And I saw Woj put out a story that says Kevin Durant, Boston. I'm like, whoa, okay. So there's some noise about Boston getting involved. That's interesting. And then this morning, Shams puts out a piece. Now, let's note that the Woj piece came out at like 11:30 Pacific time. When did he actually get that information? Because he's on the East Coast, so that's like 2 o'clock in the morning. Is he sitting by his phone? Does he have it on loud? Wake up, see a text, and go, I got to write something? Those insiders are insane to me.
Yeah, I don't think vacation really exists when things happen like this, right? You just have to be on it. And you become...
But would you want to live that life where you
Not
are,
me personally,
you are
no.
living to break news and hoping you're first? Woj, he can't wait until the morning. He gets that text. He's not like, you know what, I'll go about 5:30 and I'll type this out. He's like, I have to get up now, file a story, put out a tweet because Shams is on my ass.
So it takes a whole different type of person to want to break news, because I've been handed news to break and I haven't even wanted to break it.
Oh, I'm Morgan
No.
Reagan. I'm the NBA insider.
Again, my whole point to even saying that is I have no desire for that lifestyle.
What's the news that you could have broke that you did not?
No.
Why can't you just
No.
say it?
That's dumb.
Just say it.
No.
Coward. You're a coward. If it's already out there, who cares? Who cares?
I don't need to. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. It's not even a big deal.
Well, this is obviously a big deal in the NBA when you start hearing Durant and Mitchell. And it was weird because post-Summer League, it's kind of quiet. Last week was really quiet.
Yeah.
There wasn't a ton of noise about Donovan Mitchell or Durant. And then you have, as I mentioned, Wojnarowski put out a story today that the Celtics have emerged among teams engaged in talks on a possible deal for Kevin Durant. But it didn't seem like there was a ton of traction. Then Shams Charania put out a tweet this morning with a whole bunch of information on his piece in The Athletic. He said the Boston Celtics had offered a Jaylen Brown package to the Nets for Durant, which Brooklyn turned down and countered. Let's kind of dive into that because he also has a Donovan Mitchell update, and it regards the Sacramento Kings. What? So Shams wrote that with the Ayton deal going back to Phoenix, it's kind of taken the Suns out of the mix for Kevin Durant. So it leaves the Raptors, Miami among the teams in pursuit, and the Celtics, who recently offered a package around Jaylen Brown and have emerged as a real threat to acquire Durant.
Which makes sense. It's Jaylen effing Brown. And I think that is a great offer. And I don't think the Nets are going to get too many offers with a solid, great young piece for their franchise, right? Like that's the whole, if you want Kevin Durant, the whole point is you're trying not to give up the rest of your entire team. So then you just have Kevin Durant and a whole bunch of, second unit players, right? Like you want to make sure you're putting together the right thing around Kevin Durant because it's a win now scenario that you are looking forward to. For the Celtics, putting Jaylen Brown in there, I feel like that's a pretty good deal right there.
I mean, for the Nets or for both teams?
Well, for both teams. I think that's pretty. Again, you guys, I know people could be like, what? But Kevin Durant's worth this guy, and this guy. I get it. But these teams are not going to give up this guy, and this guy to get Kevin Durant because otherwise it just doesn't make sense for a lot of these basketball teams. So this one made the most sense to me.
The proposal was rejected. It would have been Brown and Derek White plus a draft pick to the Nets for Durant. Shams says the proposal was rejected, and Brooklyn has asked Boston in any proposal to include Brown, Marcus Smart, draft picks, and potentially one more rotation player, those sources added. Currently, the Celtics are less inclined to include Smart along with multiple other players' assets or pick assets, but the franchise is mulling over next steps on how to approach discussions. As of right now, the Celtics have emerged as a serious possibility for landing Kevin Durant. No deal for Durant is imminent, And as August and then September loom, the real desire of interested teams will become clear to the Nets.
Let's just play this for fun. Celtics, let's say they did put a trade together, a proposal, and it was Marcus Smart and Jaylen Brown and a pick. Let's pretend that was the deal. So then you got Kevin Durant, Jason Tatum, Malcolm Brogdon,
Gallinari, Robert Williams. You still have Al Horford.
Yes. So you still, does that team, now the team last year, even on paper, seemed like a pretty solid team. You take away two of those main guys, plug in a Kevin Durant, you're not that far.
Well, obviously, because Durant, when healthy, is ridiculous.
When healthy,
and he
when
is
healthy,
still
when
awesome.
healthy.
But he's combined, the last 2 seasons played just over 85 games combined in the last 2 years, coming off the Achilles. He's going to be 34 next year. I think a part of it, if you're a Celtics fan, a tiny bit of you has to go, man, Jaylen Brown showed a lot in the playoffs, in the finals.
Yeah.
We had a chance to win it all. Let's keep this young core together. We still have Robert Williams, who we get him healthy. We had Brogdon, we had Gallinari, we got Brown, we got Tatum. Let's keep going with this and see what we can do in the East. Because the guy that we're trying to acquire is a guy we shut down
Deuce.
in the first round. They didn't win a game. The great KD didn't even beat him in one game.
I love that you just brought all that up, because even for me, when I talk about all this, I'm just talking about a scenario, a situation.
Oh, I know.
And no. And my point is, though, I love Jaylen Brown. I think you do focus on growing him and Tatum together for a very long time, especially because they are still considered young in this league. So I would do that. And I understand the desperation always of thinking, how do we get over this hump? Now, here's another thing, though, that just happened. You just put a little damper on your relationship with Jaylen Brown. And not to say that, oh, man, you did that to your relationship, their relationship's going to be over with the Celtics. No. You can always gain that trust back. You can always find a way to communicate through it. They're all adults, pretty mature, good heads on their shoulders. They can talk about this, but it's still going to be there right now. And it's going to be talked about as we go into the season.
Yeah, I think that's the toughest part about trade talks, especially when you have names involved. And, Jaylen still has 2 years left on his deal. And there's some chatter out there that, well, maybe this is why Boston moves on from a guy like him, because he could just dip out in free agency and you're left with what? And you have a chance maybe to get Durant at this point, who, Ime Udoka knows really well. Obviously coached in Brooklyn too as an assistant. So I think those guys are tight, especially with Team USA stuff. And I'm not even trying to take anything away from Durant, because you're allowed to have a bad playoff run. The Nets situation was completely bizarre last year with everything that transpired from, the Kyrie distraction, the Harden trade, postseason stuff. It was weird.
Can I be honest too?
I love when more. Can I be honest?
No,
I want you to lie to me.
Because
Lie
I
to me
feel
about
like so
NBA
many people
conversation.
don't want to touch on this much because of this situation. But is Steve Nash a good coach? Do we know yet? Do we know? Do we know yet? That's why I'm asking.
We don't. But also,
See? And that's why I brought it up like that, and I prefaced it, because I'm not trying to blame that either. I'm more just saying, look, there's this combination of things, and we keep looking at these injuries and what these players were on the floor, and yes, that has a lot to do with it. And I'm not trying to put out a narrative that Steve Nash is not a good coach or anything, because I'm sure he's great with relationships and obviously knows the game at such a high level. But I'm just curious how he manages and how he does certain things, and we just haven't been able to see it to a full extent because of his situation and these players and their health.
Yeah, I don't know how that relates to the Durant situation here. I think Durant probably wanted Nash to be there.
We were just talking about Brooklyn and how Brooklyn hasn't had the years that they've wanted to have with Durant and Kyrie and them on the team. And I think sometimes we keep talking about the health, and as we should, but you
can have the greatest coach ever there. I don't think it matters with everything that was happening with Kyrie missing all that time last year. Harden in and out, not 100%, weird dynamic, and then Durant. Like, it doesn't matter what coach you have. That's going to be a challenge. And
It's good. I'm not denying that.
so the reality is Nash is still going to be their guy going forward. Oh, by the way, they still have this whole Ben Simmons thing, who did not play a game for them and had back surgery in the offseason. Like, there's a lot to unpack there. I mean, I get from the Nets perspective, you're moving on from KD, who's still, under contract with you. Getting someone like Jaylen Brown makes sense. I'm just not sure for Boston's standpoint if, like, you go, yeah, that's like a no-brainer. I think this is one that's super challenging, especially when you've got a guy in Jaylen Brown who's a two-way threat, who is just entering the prime of his career. He's 25 years old.
Right.
He's been an all-star. Probably should have been one last year, but he's a really good player. Also, if Jaylen Brown is available, and maybe he's only available in this circumstance for a Kevin Durant deal, God, I would do anything for Jaylen Brown in Sacramento.
Well, and I think that's what it is. It's like this circumstance has to be star player or above, right? Because why the hell else would you move on from Jaylen Brown? And I think in this situation, it just looks like, look, if this guy's out there and Kevin Durant, one of the best players in this league, I mean, if not the best when healthy, it's you got to do everything you can. And I don't blame Brad Stevens. I don't blame them for going in that direction. But
what you just said, though, a few minutes ago is like, is it worth Jaylen Brown being bugged by it? Like, what? How fragile is that situation? And yes, understand it's a business, but I also would push back and say, yeah, but these are people you're dealing with too, and there's egos involved. It's like a balancing act. Like, you're trying to do everything you can to improve a team.
Yeah.
And maybe, I mean, you also don't know what side put this out there. Is this the Nets pushing out the Celtics? Who knows?
And you could say too that, like, hey, it's the business. You got to get over it. But then you put yourself, you humanize the situation and you put yourself in their shoes and you go, man, there's a little bit that feeling of rejection, or they don't want me, and this is your crew, this is your team, and you thought you were their ride or die to a championship. So, like, he's going to feel that, and you're absolutely right. Is it worth putting him in that situation? I say yes, because you're dealing with a real mature 25-year-old in Jaylen Brown where you can work it out. And I listened to a podcast, I think it was like a Woj podcast a year or so ago, and it was CJ McCollum talking about always being in trade talks. And he's like, look, I know my value, and how I see is that people just see me as a valuable asset. And that is why they're looking to always, move me. Even if I'm not their piece in the direction that they want to go with an entire franchise, people want me. And that's another way I look at it.
I think another thing that comes to mind for me is there's been so much talk over the last couple of years in Boston about the whole Brown-Tatum dynamic. Do they like each other? Can they play together? Well, they made it to the NBA Finals together. I think they figured it out. I think they've tried to squash that. I just think if I look at Boston with what they were able to achieve last year, especially after the start they had where they were like below 500 after 40 games, they turned it around. Their defense was spectacular. You saw the growth in young guys. And I think I just run it back with the additions that they picked up Brogdon and Gallinari, like you said. Run it back.
Yeah, especially if you believe in Ime Udoka and his system and plugging guys in and making it work, right? Like, I understand that you're not always going to have those big games where Grant Williams, you can just depend on him to be a scoring threat on the offensive end, or Al Horford, a year older. What is he really going to contribute down this into the season? You just don't know at this point. But if you believe in the buy-in and you saw what your players didn't have last season in that final series, which was conditioning, and you changed that, why aren't you talented enough to bring it back and get back there again? Yeah.
Another interesting subplot to this whole Durant conversation is another line that Shamtown in his piece today says that Durant has shown no change in his stance, and execs from across the league at Vegas Summer League this month wondered whether his status for training camp could be in question via holdout should no trade develop. I don't know. I just feel like Durant would play. And maybe I'm wrong on that, but I think KD loves the game. he wants to be out there and he's going to go out and play, even if he starts the season in Brooklyn. And I just don't have a good feel for how this is going to play out. I think, you're getting to the point of the offseason where there's a lot of talk. There's a lot of conversations, but Brooklyn probably doesn't have a lot of options right now that they love. The Phoenix one's pushed aside now, right?
No. Yeah. The Phoenix one is pushed aside. And on top of that, we're getting closer and closer to the season. I don't want to see that from Kevin Durant. That's just on a personal level. I don't want to see that from Kevin Durant. But why would Kevin Durant want to do that after having 2 years on and off the court, right? Like
at his age.
Right. Like
yes.
Get your flow going, get things going. And on top of that, you don't know what's going to happen. Do you want to have like a Ben Simmons like time where you're just sitting out and you don't know what's going to happen next? No, he wants to play the game. And Father Time is right there with him. So you might as well play the game at a high level while you can and hope that either you can make up your relationship with the Nets in the front office or you can get traded somewhere at a high value.
We also need to talk about how wild this league is. Not only from the perspective that it seems like every offseason there is a star, a major star now that is like, hey, I want out or I want to go somewhere else.
Well, not that part.
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
Is like, we love it from a conversation
Yes.
standpoint. We like talking to everyone about it, but is it good for the league that every offseason you can pretty much count like, oh, August, there's going to be a star player who wants to be somewhere else. And then you're kind of holding this team hostage, puts them in a tough spot. It's like after free agency, after the draft. And you're like, these teams are really caught in a really difficult position.
And it's tough too, because it's so different than like you look at the Kevin Durant situations, like I want out. And then you look at the Donovan Mitchell situations, like this guy would have been down, it sounds like, to stay in Utah. And that's a team decision to be looking for opportunities, new opportunities for Donovan Mitchell. So it's tough because when I see it that way, I don't cringe as much when it's a star player like Kevin Durant that wants out. And I think because sometimes too, Deuce, we want to empower the players and we're all for that. But at the same time too, how jobs work, it's not fun when you see someone that just wants out of a contract. Get me out of here. Get me out of here. Because then you just know something's not going well. But then you have to really think about the cities that are involved, right?
Yeah.
Brooklyn, bigger market. But still, it's sad to see when a star player wants out of your city. But when it's a small market and it's a player that wants out, like who knows what's going to happen in New Orleans with Zion.
Well, he got his max deal, so he's probably going to be happy at least for a year.
Oh, of course he was. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it, because you know how those contracts work. So I guess my point is, it's like I don't like to see it mostly for the fans and the city and stuff, but I also get it on this human level of these players like not liking certain situations. But I just wish like everyone could work it out. There's just so many rich people involved.
I think the other thing, though, is from a player's perspective, you're right. It's like, hey, you're signing a contract. You should be there. You should suck it up, be a professional, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I feel like that's kind of the old school way of thinking, because these teams can trade these guys
at
anytime they want.
Yep.
Anytime they want. And we don't give the teams the same level of shit as we give players who want out.
The Jazz, just like this situation with the Jazz. I'm not giving them any shit. And in some ways, shouldn't I be?
Right. So Donovan, so Utah has like changed their mind. They're going to just rebuild, right? They're just going to blow things up probably.
Yeah.
So that's in the middle of Donovan Mitchell's contract. It's not like he is expiring next year. So like those are things that have to be considered. And as the chat is mentioning right now, like the new CBA, the collective bargaining agreement for the league, is going to be really fascinating to see how everything gets split up. There's going to be a new TV deal, a lot of money coming in. Who knows what the whole gambling situation turns into, especially if like DraftKings and FanDuel, all those places can operate freely in California. Like you can go to a game, and that's going to be an influx of new money for the league. It's going to get wild.
And didn't Adam Silver start talking a little bit about players and maybe, hey, is there something where we need to adjust their contracts where they're getting paid to play 82 games? And if you're not in like,
yeah, these are all complicated things.
It totally is, because we see how other sports are, and it can be so unfair on these players sometimes when they put their bodies at risk and then they get injured. We get it. This shit happens. But at the same time, like there's a lot of money. There's millions and millions of dollars going to some of these players who are literally just not doing their job.
I think the other point to rewind where I was going with this before I got on this was it's crazy how these teams who are both like competing to win champion, like we saw it last year, right? The Nets and the Sixers made the Harden-Simmons swap. It's these two teams are trying to win championships at the same time, and they're swapping parts.
Yeah.
And the Nets, I don't think they're not motivated to rebuild, right? They don't have picks, so they want to keep being competitive, keep trying to win. So again, two teams trying to win at the same time. Usually when you see a deal like this, it's because it's similar to what Utah's doing, right? Utah's like, hey, we are making the decision to punt. We want to retool. We got new ownership. We've got, Danny Ainge kind of taking control. We can go ahead and punt this, and another team's going to benefit from it. But these are two teams trying to win. The NBA is crazy. Then we get to the Donovan Mitchell stuff. There's so much talk about him going to the Knicks. And personally, I think that's where this is going to end up. It just seems like the Knicks have everything that the Utah Jazz would want. And now we're to the point where it's negotiation season through the public. We're going to go through the media and really put the pressure on the Knicks. Shams had a story today that had a nugget about Mitchell saying, meanwhile, eyes and ears around the league also remain fixated on the Utah Jazz and the Knicks engaging in trade talks surrounding Mitchell. The Knicks asset pool, up to 8 first-round picks and young players such as Quentin Grimes, Emmanuel Quickley, and Obi Toppin, gives them a clear opportunity to acquire Mitchell, but sources say talks so far have moved slowly and sides are far from an agreement. And then this. Along with New York, several other teams have expressed interest to the Jazz when it comes to Mitchell, such as Washington, Miami, Toronto, Charlotte, Atlanta, and Sacramento, according to sources. So the Kings interested in Donovan Mitchell. Your first reaction?
I'm glad they're picking up the phone and just being aggressive about it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, even if that's just picking up the phone and being like, what would you want from Zach? Okay. Just getting a feel, like, why not get a feel for it, right? I guess the only thing that it could ever damage is a relationship and someone being like, oh, how dare Monty McNair want to possibly look at Donovan Mitchell when there's already a point guard or, and a backup point guard on this Sacramento Kings squad. But at the same time, Donovan Mitchell has had a great start to his career, averaging, over 20 points in every single season. And on top of that, like, we've seen him play at such a high level, and all the extra stuff that we've heard off the court with Rudy Gobert, you just never know what those rumblings are and you're getting one side of the story at times, right? So my point is, it's a great player. Yes, you should be picking up the phone and making a call.
Yeah, and Monty has pretty much said as much throughout his time in Sacramento is that they're going to be aggressive and looking to add star talent to the roster. And anytime a star is available, they're going to pick up the phone. I think last year you saw it with the Dame Lillard stuff. I remember probably doing a podcast late August during the offseason where we're talking about, man, the Kings could be interested in Damian Lillard. What would that look like? I just don't see a path for the Kings to land someone like Donovan Mitchell, especially with the asking price,
Sure.
which seems crazy right now. And if the Knicks are willing to give up a ton of first-round picks plus young players, that seems like a no-brainer. To me, this story is being put out there to put pressure on the Knicks to get the damn deal done. They probably are really close. They're at the goal line. They got to punch it in. They're, battling back and forth over pick protections or something like that. They're probably going to get a deal done. And how does Sacramento even match something like that? Like, to me, at the bare minimum, you're giving up Keegan Murray, Davion Mitchell, and picks, and plus you got to add more.
Because obviously Jazz wouldn't want, a point guard in De'Aaron Fox who is getting paid what he's getting paid.
Right.
So it's like, exactly, they're trying to get rid of that type of contract. So yeah, I don't see the Sacramento Kings being seriously in the mix at all. I think it's fun to just see their name always involved now.
We can talk about how they could get in the mix with some of these deals coming up in a few minutes. I do want to just talk about Donovan too, just in terms of the asking price.
Yeah.
I like Donovan Mitchell. And you said you went over some of his, the fact that he's averaged 20 a game in every single season. He's had some monstrous, like in the bubble, some monstrous playoff games, all-star player, 3-time all-star. He's done some nice things in the league. I'm sorry. And maybe I'm just missing something, and maybe it's because Utah messed this whole thing up with the trade with Minnesota where they sent Gobert for like 800 first-round picks.
Okay.
I'm not giving up that much draft capital for a good player.
Oh, come on. He's still better than good.
Okay, I see. This is where our definitions get all messed up. So he's a great player. So what's above great? Superstar?
Sure.
Okay, fine. In Morgan's world, yeah. My point is, I don't think you trade all that draft capital, like 6 first-round picks and some young players, and your core is what? Donovan Mitchell, Jalen Brunson, and Julius Randle.
Hey,
Is that-
Evan Fournier. Yeah.
RJ Barrett, like
I mean,
that doesn't do anything for me.
sharpshooter.
And I guess part of it too, the Knicks are just trying to compete, but like it's so out of whack. The asking price. Like, traditionally, if you're giving up that many picks, you're getting a guy. Like you are getting an absolute, no doubt about it, franchise-altering guy that when you trade that much draft capital, in my opinion, it's because you believe he's a championship piece that you can be contending the next year.
Or you believe that he is like the missing piece to your puzzle.
Sure.
But this puzzle
For
that
example,
the Knicks have, there's a scramble modge podge.
Right, like the Bucks a few years ago, they gave up some draft capital to get Drew Holiday. They felt like he could be the missing piece that ultimately ended up leading to a championship.
Right.
But yeah, the Knicks aren't just a piece away, and Donovan Mitchell's not that guy yet. And look,
I agree with that.
He's a really good player. I think last year was a weird year for Utah as a whole, just from vibes, chemistry, all of that. Just watching them, even though they won a lot of games still, you never felt like they were a good team. Like they weren't together.
You're talking about the Jazz?
Yes. Donovan Mitchell at times is just like, oh, here's a 4 shot. Oh, Donovan Mitchell's taking 30 shots a game. It felt like he was just trying to get his at time. It doesn't mean he's not talented. I think he's really talented. If I'm the Knicks, it's like, how desperate are you?
Well, I'll say this too, because I think when like Boyan and his health, but then Joe Ingles, when he went down, it was like the flow, their identity had totally changed without these shooters, right? And without these threats from the outside. And a lot of this benefited Donovan Mitchell's game. I'm not going to act like Donovan Mitchell couldn't do certain things without them. I'm just saying I think he's the type of player that can only show up to be the best that he can be if he has the right pieces around him. And to some people, they're like, that's not a great player. I mean, sure, we all have different definitions.
I also think, I think every great player needs pieces around him to really succeed.
No.
To the max.
Sure, Deuce, but there's a different tier of players that can just make so many things happen even when they don't have that outside threat. They understand how to just finish at the rim, right? They just understand their body at a different level. And I think Donovan Mitchell, there's times where he's like, okay, I'm still going to do my same old shit, even though it's not as open in the paint and, my shooters are injured or whatever. And it's like, it was a little bit more chaotic. It wasn't as under control at times. And so it made me realize with his game has a lot to do with what the pieces are around him. So with the Knicks, I don't just see him all of a sudden just taking them to, a playoff run, right?
I mean, like if the Knicks got Donovan Mitchell and they still had they'd still have Brunson and Randall, like they'd be a playoff team in the East. The East isn't that great. It's top heavy.
I would say play in.
I mean, I think also you need to have the perspective of this. This Knicks team 2 years ago was the number 4 seed in the East.
Absolutely.
And they had a really bad year. Julius Randle, for example, he's not as bad as he was last year, but he's definitely not as good as he was the season prior where he was all NBA third team, super efficient from 3, super engaged. So I think the Knicks would for sure be a playoff team in the East. But what's that mean? Again, the amount that you're giving up potentially to get him, it just doesn't add up to me when you're making a move like that, it needs to be because you're close, that you believe he can be a guy. And maybe they think he's a franchise piece, that they think he can be the guy on a championship team. We get him. It gives us credibility. We got Brunson. We're able to get some more people in the future. Let's go.
I would be down to see Jaylen Brunson and Donovan Mitchell surprise us all and show us all like, F you. This is all we needed to do. We've got this. I just don't see that's what they will do in the Eastern Conference if that's the direction that the Utah Jazz go.
Well, we need to talk about how the Kings could get involved in all of this in just a second. We should mention that today's podcast presented by our friends over at the Detail Pros of Sacramento. You're trying to get your car looking sexy. Trying to get your car looking like Deuce.
Oh.
Like smooth, gorgeous.
Your car to look like Deuce?
Yeah.
That's a weird description.
What do you mean?
Smooth and gorgeous?
Yeah.
That's how you describe yourself?
I guess not. I guess I shouldn't. Anyway, if you want your car looking good, go to the Detail Pros of Sacramento. Go to their website, thedetailprossac.com. Get it done today. Schedule a detailing service for your vehicle. 1, your car needs it. 2, Nick will take great care of you. Huge Kings fan and a local business. I'm not kidding you. My car looks so much better after going to him.
Yeah, I've never seen a better looking car after going to him. And I'm not kidding. You know how sometimes you're disappointed after going to a car wash and you're like, oh, they didn't get this spot. They didn't. Nick is all about the details. And also, if you tell him that you heard about him on the Deuce and Mo podcast, you can get a free upgrade paint sealant, which is valued at $125.
Damn.
I know.
Go to the detailprossac.com. Also presented today by Revitalize.
Gulp, gulp, gulp. You like that?
No, I do not like that. Is that how you drink your Revitalize?
Gulp, gulp, gulp.
Let's just say it's summertime. You know, after work, you're like, I'm going to throw back a couple of beers or I'm going to drink a little bit. When you go to Rayleigh's or Bel Air and you go down the alcohol aisle, you grab your beer, you look around because you need to pick up Revitalize. All it's going to do is make you feel better. Like, so, you know, stay hydrated.
You're welcome.
Also, if you're not a drinker and you're like, hey, I want to be hydrated after a workout, go get Revitalize. It's amazing. It's in the alcohol aisle. You don't have to go to this, as Morgan would say, the stupid baby aisle.
Crawling back and forth, and you have to dodge all these stupid babies protecting their baby shit in the baby aisle. It's very weird just to go for a Pedialyte. Stupid. Don't do that when you can go to the liquor aisle and get Revitalize. It's for adults.
Yeah, go ahead and go to their website, drinkrevitalize.com. Drinkrevitalize.com. You can find it in the alcohol aisle at Bel Air and Rayleigh's. Also presented today by a New York Times best-selling author, the one and only T.R. Reagan.
This crazy lady. Yeah, that's right. That's my mom, and she's an author, bitch. Yep. My mom, she has sold millions of copies of her books. Why? Because people just love her stories. They are gory. They are crazy. They are weird. Sometimes it scares me. And I think when I still lived at home, I slept with one eye open because her stories are that insane. But hey, I'm still here. And we're good. So if you want to check out some of her creepy ass thrillers, make sure to go to Amazon.com, search TR Reagan, or you can go to trreagan.com. You can see all of her books there.
Side note, all of her books based in Sacramento.
Based in Sacramento. So yeah, be ready.
The stories
to be
are based in Sacramento. Anyway, check them out. Appreciate everyone's support of the Deuce and Mo podcast. Let's give some love to the chat.
Hell yeah.
Appreciate everyone being here today. Make sure to hit the thumbs up button. That should be at 150. All it does is make our channel grow. It gets recommended to people. They're able to check it out, and our podcast community grows and grows. Also, hit the subscribe button. Shout out to everyone here. The poll question before the show: do you want to see the Kings go after Donovan Mitchell?
Ooh.
Yes, this is a stars league, or no, it'll cost too much. 60% of the people who have voted so far have voted for no, it'll cost too much. Yeah, we could spend like 30 minutes discussing potential trade scenarios for Mitchell to Sacramento. I just think it's so far-fetched that I don't even, like, I'm not surprised that Monty called, check in, see what's going on, see if, like, the Kings can get involved into something else, but I just don't see a path. I don't see it.
It's mostly because of what Utah is trying to do is why I don't see a path, right? It's not, and even so, let's say like you did figure out something for Sacramento. Why Why would that make sense for Sacramento's future just to get Donovan Mitchell
Yeah.
on their squad?
Well, because let's be honest, De'Aaron Fox for Donovan Mitchell, salary-wise, would work, but the Jazz would not do that because they're not trying to take back the same contract back. They're going through a different phase. They're rebuilding. They are going to try to get some draft assets and capital and move on. So Sacramento would have Fox, Donovan Mitchell, and Sabonis, and what else around? You know, what is that? I think you would at bare minimum see you later, Keegan, Davion, and picks.
And and I'm not willing to go in that direction. I just think you're really trying to build here in Sacramento for a sustainable future, right? Not just of course that win now term gets used all the time too. Oh.
We should have an update from Adam Wojnarowski.
Wow.
Woj is, can you call him a brother?
His strange brother.
Reports indicate the Celtics and Kevin Durant showdown involves the Sacramento Kings. How are they involved? The Kings play in the same league as the two teams. Could get interesting.
Great report. He's not wrong.
Find the lie.
Find the lie.
Find the lie.
Thank you, Adam.
Morgan, we kind of dismissed Mitchell to Sacramento.
Yeah.
But could the Kings get involved in like a larger trade, a 3-team deal? Could they be hitting up Danny Ainge for other pieces? It's hard to imagine that Ainge is going to keep like some of the other pieces on the roster. Like, are they holding on to Jordan Clarkson or are they shopping him? Mike Conley. That doesn't make much sense to Sacramento, but like, is he a guy that gets moved? One guy that's I'm interested in on that roster is Bojan Bogdanovic.
Okay.
Or Bogdanovic.
Bogdanovic. I know.
Bogdanovic. Bojan Bogdanovic.
Correct.
Expiring deal.
Mm-hmm.
33 years old. Great shooter.
What's that contract?
Expiring deal.
Oh, no.
18 million.
Oh, okay. I'm
18
sorry.
million. So you essentially could, do something with Barnes and, move on from him. And
Okay.
if you were trying to go that route. But that's a guy that I'm interested in. I like shooting. He's got good size. I know, like you have to think long term is that guy you would keep around, but I like Bojan.
How was he defensively after he came back? Wasn't he just like a step slower?
I'm not going to call him
a defensive
defensive stopper by any means.
So, what about Jordan Clarkson?
I just don't see the fit.
Okay.
How many guards do you need on this team? Do
No,
you need
and
800 guards?
And it's like he's obviously not the biggest guard in the world. I appreciate his energy. I appreciate in him coming off the bench. You know what that could look like with your depth. But yeah, we're just having fun.
You've got Malik Monk, you got Kevin Huerter. Like, where does that fit? I'm thinking we got a guy with some size who could play some 3-4. Not great defense.
But if it meant getting rid of Harrison Barnes for Bojan, I'd say no.
Okay.
I would rather have HB.
And Harrison's shooting has been really good too. Since he's gotten to Sacramento, he has literally like 39% from three. That's a really efficient mark. And you have to think that like that could look really good next year with some of the pieces surrounding the Kings.
Yeah. No, so I don't see that being something that which now that player has excited me before.
Yeah.
When we've just talked about what ifs and what the Kings are lacking, and especially in shooting. But now that the Kings have done better in some of those categories of shooting, and like Kevin Huerter, a big guy that can shoot, so he can also defend on the other end and not just be undersized. I like what I see so far.
A couple other names for Utah. Again, I feel like all their names really on that roster, probably they're open-minded to moving. But Jared Vanderbilt's an interesting one. I thought he was a key guy for Minnesota last year. Defensively is where I'm intrigued with him.
Okay.
And he's still young. His contract's nice. Also, if you're Utah, it's like, why not just keep him? Like, if I'm a rebuilding team, I might just keep a guy like Vanderbilt unless I'm getting draft capital back, because he's young, he's under contract. Like, he could help, and we can develop him. He'll get a good opportunity here. But that's a name. The one other name is Patrick Beverley. I don't see the fit at all with Sacramento. I know the Kings need a third point guard, and that's something that they've been talking about. Quinn Cook's name has been mentioned. Matthew Dellavedova, both guys worked out for Sacramento in Las Vegas. Problem with Beverly, he makes $13 million. You can't.
Yeah.
You're not going to add a guy who's making $13 million when he's not really going to play for you.
To be what, a third
Point guard?
Yeah.
No.
That.
Yeah.
And I think so many people go, you know what he can add with his mentality, that dog-like mentality. You know, I appreciate that side of Patrick Beverly, and I think in so many ways he could make you better at practices. He could be annoying at time. He can be that veteran talkative leader that you are looking for. So I can understand that. But I just feel like you just said, even with those two other names, Quinn Cook and Matthew Dellavedova, when you're looking to just add that depth for cheaper is the direction I would go.
Yeah, and Jason Anderson from the B says there are multiple teams engaged in talks with Quinn Cook at this point. Yeah, I'm fine with Cook or Dellavedova. You know, it's something different. I think with Dellavedova, he hasn't played in the league in a while. He's had some health things. But if you're bringing in a third guy, he's not really going to play. I mean, it's just it's a guy for depth purposes.
Yep.
And I do think it's important. Like some would say, well, you could just leave it open, that spot open, and just wait just in case you need it. I would argue this. If you bring Quinn Cook or Dellavedova or whoever that third point guard is, it's just good to kind of have them in your system.
Yeah.
And just know, just from a chemistry standpoint,
True.
know what you guys are running. So if the time comes, you use them. I mean, if you want to go back way back in the day, that's kind of what the Kings did with Jason Hart when they had Jason Hart on the roster. Even going back to Damon Jones back in the day. This is like early 2000 stuff. Like, guys didn't play, but when, you know, hey, Bibby's out tonight. He's out with a hand injury. Bobby Jackson's not playing. We're starting Damon Jones.
What about, so Isaiah Thomas is someone that we've talked about,
Yeah.
but I just saw on my Instagram league alert, so I don't know who exactly reported this, that Charlotte was looking at him again. And I saw something about Kemba Walker maybe being interested in, or Charlotte being interested in Kemba Walker. But going back to Isaiah Thomas, so you know, he still gets talked about around the league. I saw that he tweeted out an hour ago, thinking about hitting up some pro-ams this weekend. Where should I pull up and get 50? I love his mentality. I love what he can add to, you know, the depth of a team. And I'm always down for an IT for depth.
Can we just acknowledge how you always say pro-ams?
How do I say it, bro?
You say pro-ams. Amateur, like am?
Yeah.
Pro-am.
What am I saying?
You say like pro-am.
It sounds like you're saying the same thing.
Pro-am. Say pro-am.
Pro-am.
That's not how you said it, though.
Oh, how? Okay.
Pro-am.
Pro-am. Am I saying it right?
Yeah, I guess. Whatever. All right, let's talk real fast about Isaiah. Sorry, I just noticed that you do it a lot. What?
Oh my God.
Yo,
You've said this ever since I've told you I played in the pro-ams. Did I do it right?
You did it better.
Okay.
Did it better. Anyway, Isaiah Thomas.
Stupid.
I think Isaiah, I don't know. We haven't talked to him, so it's tough for me to say. But my guess is he would like a spot where he could play a little bit. And if he came to Sacramento, I don't think he would play even a little bit. Do I want someone like Isaiah Thomas around?
I know.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Like he's a great guy, and if you need a break in case of emergency, you put him in there. Yeah, but like when you've got Fox and Mitchell on your team and all the guards, you go, okay, where does this third point guard fit in? Whereas you look at someone like Matthew Dellavedova. Dellavedova's probably trying to get back in the league.
Sure.
He knows Mike Brown, smart veteran leader, knows defense. He'd probably be cool with just getting back in the league. Quinn Cook was in the G League last year with the Stockton Kings. He'd like to be on a roster. And sure, all these guys want to play.
Yeah.
I think Isaiah's more like, I've been an all-star in this. I want to get minutes. And he would much rather, if he had a choice, go to a situation where he can get some minutes and prove that he could still play, because he obviously is a very confident guy that believes he can contribute at a high level.
Yeah. And okay. So I know this is going to be a hard put you on the spot kind of question. Is there a team in the league that's like that for him right now? Because if not,
well, I mean, I think the Hornets kind of played him at times last year. So maybe, I don't know.
and yeah,
I mean, some of these other teams around the league, like if I was a rebuilding team, like, and I had some young guys that wanted, like, for example, Houston.
okay.
I'm trying to think of random teams in the league. A team that just needs like a veteran that knows the game, that's been around. And that's what's so valuable about someone like Isaiah is this is a guy who's grinded. Like, the guy was the 60th pick in the draft. No one thought he was going to make it as a
He
player.
gets the grind.
Multiple teams said goodbye to him. Turns into an all-star level player in Boston. So he's seen everything.
Mm-hmm.
And, oh, by the way, he's seen the ultimate highs and the ultimate lows. And he's still trying to prove himself to be in the league. I think there are rebuilding teams around the league that could definitely add someone like him where he could get some minutes while at the same time being that veteran presence for young guys.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then maybe it's not Sacramento. Either way, I like the two that
Yeah.
we mentioned
Oh.
with Quinn Cook and Matthew Dellavedova. Anyway.
I would love if Isaiah Thomas came back to Sacramento. I
but-
just think for him.
Yeah, no, and you're not wrong about that. You know, and I think some people might challenge that and be like, it's not up to him. But the thing is, you want him to be happy too.
Yep.
You know, he's a different type of player that has done different things in this league and is still trying to do different things in this league than just be your third point guard on the squad.
Let's get to some comments from people watching us live. What's up? Brandon in the Twitch chat says, watch out for Miami to make a strong push to acquire KD and Donovan Mitchell. I don't know how they would do that, but that would be wild.
Okay.
I mean, I don't even know how that would be possible, but that would be pretty insane. And yeah, I mean, Miami's just always one of those teams that you look, they're not afraid to be aggressive and make a splash. Like, I'm not surprised at all that they're interested, in both of those guys, because Pat Riley's
Ruthless.
he's a badass.
Yeah.
Man. That guy's like, yeah, we'll make it happen.
Oh, Kyle Lowry? Yeah, he's about to lose 15 pounds. How? Because I told him to.
And if he doesn't, he's gone.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Bajay in the chat says Jaylen Brown to the Kings is better than Donovan Mitchell.
Well, no shit.
Yeah. And just to go back on that, I hear that, but the report was that the Kings had some interest in Donovan Mitchell, one of the many teams interested throughout the league. There's been nothing that's tied them to Jaylen Brown, and I personally don't think Jaylen Brown's available unless they are getting someone like Kevin Durant.
How many teams are calling the Boston Celtics
A lot.
today? Okay. And being like,
Absolutely.
whoa, Jaylen Brown's even you're gonna put him out there at all? It's funny how they're protecting Marcus Smart in this though too, and I think because they understand the value of his type of play on so many different levels for an entire team.
Here's a question, Morgan.
Yeah.
Are you okay with the Kings roster if Monty McNair does not make another move before the start of the regular season?
I would be okay going into the season because I'm realistic. But I would ultimately go, if you're in a win now situation, you gotta keep being aggressive and making moves during the season until that trade deadline, right? And I don't know what that consists of, but right now it's like I'm content. I'm not satisfied. I'm not happy. I'm just content going into the season with what is there.
I think there's always a thirst to like, hey, more change, because you want to be certain that, hey, this team is going to be a playoff team.
Sure.
I get all that. I'm totally fine with it.
Be realistic,
I'm
right?
totally fine with the moves that they have made. I don't think now if we were here on July 25th and the Kings offseason was Keegan Murray and signing like KZ Okpala. That was it. I'd be like, okay, like what are they waiting for? Like, but they were aggressive.
They got Monk, they got Herter, and like those two alone, like just the situation, how bad the Kings needed shooting. And yes, there's other things that they still need to improve. But from what we're hearing and seeing with even Rashawn Holmes' situation, that might be just some good depth to have. Davion Mitchell, what has he worked on in the offseason, and what can he be as your second unit point guard, right?
Are you on the Deuce 41 wins?
No, but I'm
Let's go.
I'm on the realistic train of basketball, and that the game is going to look a lot better next year for the Sacramento Kings.
Oh my God. Felix says Herter and Monk are nice, but let's not act like we added 2 All-Stars. Hold on, did someone come in and grab a mic?
Who said that? Wait, should we ask one of the dogs? Did they say that?
Was that who came in and said?
Did
No
you
one
hear that?
said that. Who said that? Why do we go to such extremes? Adding Malik Monk and Kevin Herter are nice moves. No one's proclaiming like the Kings just add another All-Star. But don't act like this isn't that. What are we doing?
No one acted like they added a whole bunch of all-stars. Just solid. So again, we've talked about this so many times. 90% of the league is made up of role players, and making sure you have the right role players, the right depth on your team, even the right starters on your team, and making those improvements can go a long way. Adding all-stars, yes, goes even a longer way. But that did not happen, and nobody said that.
Birdman in the chat says the Bojack did, in fact.
Oh, that son of a bitch!
He must have did his own podcast.
I'm going to wash his mouth out with soap.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm all for McNair continuing to check in and be aggressive. But, like, this team right now, I'm content with, like, all right, let's see what it looks like. You know, I think if there's a move to be made, sure. I think there's so much talk. They have to move Harrison Barnes or extend him, or he's an expiring. It's like, well, no. Or you could just like keep him and see how it plays out. You can move him later, or maybe you keep him. You have a great year, and you're like, hey, we'll extend him to a team-friendly deal. I don't know. Like,
can I just say, because remember how many times last year in conversations, anytime Harrison Barnes would have a bad game, it's like the world was ending, and everyone was like, trade him. Oh, you should trade him while his value is high. Why didn't you do that? Blah, blah. I know it's only July, but going into this next season, let's all be better with that, because we're also, look how everyone is satisfied going into this season with Harrison Barnes, because you look at the value around the league at that position, and Harrison is valuable.
Yeah.
So really look at this as a positive going into this season. But at the same time, yes, you're hoping that Monty McNair is still being aggressive and going throughout the season going, who wants this expiring contract if I can get something better for Harrison Barnes?
We have been saying this for months.
Uh-huh.
If you're trading Harrison Barnes, are you better? Like, that's the thing. Are you getting better at the third? Are you
right?
I don't know that you are. And so that's the challenge, especially moving a guy on an expiring deal.
And I guess my only thing is it's like, yeah, you don't want to lose him for nothing, and I totally understand that. But at the same time, that's why you build that relationship and get that feel like, okay, do you want to be here? Is this an extension that you're going to want to sign? And if you're not feeling that, then you probably should make some moves.
Yeah. I think I'm cool with them starting with this group and seeing what it looks like.
Yeah, I think you should be. I think in years past, it was like, okay, there's nothing else they really can do. You know, there's nothing else they really can do. They don't have much of a squad. Let's see what they can do when we go into the season. Right now, I'm actually, like you said, content or satisfied, wherever you want to find that in between, looking at this roster going into this season being like, okay, this is going to be a competitive basketball team. And that's growth for the Sacramento Kings roster.
Yeah, and as far as Harrison, I think the additions that they've made only helps his game. It takes pressure off of him. I know there's been some talk about who's the Kings' third option, and you know, I don't know that you have to be like, well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I mean, I don't know. The third option could change based on the night. I mean,
exactly.
I think you know who your two best guys are. It's Fox, Sabonis, and you know that Barnes is capable on a given night to drop 20. He can drop 20 in a game.
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen Keegan play well in Summer League, but like, is he ready to be a third guy? I'm not going to say that now because I need to see it at the NBA level. He's definitely going to help them next year. You know, Herter, could he make a jump and be that third? Yeah, I think they have many options. I think that's a good spot to be in where what Morgan has said, you know, for weeks now is just having a team. It looks like they got a team right now.
An NBA team,
yeah.
right?
It's respectable.
Yeah.
And it all hinges on the two guys being great and what can the other guys do around them.
And you just mentioned, though, Deuce, like the pressure, taking off the pressure off of some of these guys. We were talking to Combo last week, and we were talking about how guys in Sacramento are asked to do so much, like more than what they're used to doing, because that is what the team need. They need to fill so many holes. Now, because they filled some of those holes, there's not going to be as much pressure on every single guy to be like, okay, you also need to do this. You also need to do this. They can focus on what they're elite at.
I like the team. You know, as we sit here and talk about it, I get excited. The more and more
Don't
you
get
talk
too
about it. No,
excited.
I'm just being honest. The more you go, oh man, Got a little bit of a squad here, a fun squad.
I'm happy.
It's all right. You know what? We'll enjoy the ride when it comes.
Yeah. Oh, yes, we will, because we'll be
Enjoy it.
on every single night.
Enjoy the ups and downs.
After every single game.
A 500 team will have some ups and some downs.
We'll have all the above.
Hopefully more ups and downs this year,
Yeah.
though. You know, no like 9-game losing skids or multiple times.
Multiple times. If there was one,
No.
okay.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't want to see a 5-game losing skid
Oh,
this year.
come on.
In fact,
No,
you know what I want this
You're
year?
going to.
If we're just like dreaming for a second. I'm not saying this is what's going to happen. Can you just let me dream?
Dream on.
Like,
What's
what is
up?
wrong with dreaming? You're always big on these goals. Morgan's always like, I want to make this much or do this in my career. I want to do this or that. Dream big. And I
Because
always knock her down.
control that. I can control that. You can't control what this team does.
I'm dreaming. I'm saying
Dream
it's a
on.
dream. I'm
And
not
I-
saying it's going to happen.
Dream on. Let's hear it.
Dream on.
Yeah, it's a song. Good.
I want to see like some winning streaks. Like I want to like see a nice 7-game winning streak. I think this team has a chance to be fun this year. I maybe it's just me. Am I drinking too much of the King's hopium? Like what is happening?
Hopium. I like that.
It's not mine. I've heard it multiple spots.
Love it.
I just think there is a chance there would be some really fun nights at the arena.
Yeah.
The big established a home court. You've got guys like Malik Monk plays with a little fire out there. He likes to get the crowd into it. They got some hustle guys they added.
Lay off the hopium.
Okay.
But I appreciate your optimism.
Yes, Gregory. I have a vision board. My vision board. We should make Kings.
We should make
We are
Kings
going to
vision-
make Kings vision boards
Wait,
together.
We should do it on a Wednesday stream together with everyone.
We're going to do a live
my
stream on
God.
Wednesday where we were just talking, not
Yes.
a podcast, just talking on a Wednesday night, like a night chat where we talk to you and have fun. We should make vision boards
Yep.
live, and I think people at home should make Kings vision boards.
I'll tweet out what you need for a vision board, for a physical vision board. So if you want to get on it too, this could be a lot of fun.
We are doing that.
Love it. Love it. Yeah. Yes. And so then you have to have at least 10 items to put on your vision board. So if you also want to join us in that conversation, you guys can always hop on Discord and show us your vision board as well. I love this idea. Love.
Strictly Kevin says, this is why you end up with a shaved head. No, again, I have no bad feelings about making that proclamation because I still don't think it was a ridiculous thing. I didn't say it was hey, I'll shave my head if they make the playoffs. I said, I'll shave my head if they don't win 37 games. It's a low bar, guys.
It was a low bar. It just
Yes.
wasn't something that I felt was going to happen.
So, wait, what do you think's going to happen with Westbrook? You had the thing over the weekend where there was a proposed trade that got nixed, and talks between the Pacers and the Lakers are dead at the moment. But the package would have been Westbrook and a first-round pick to the Pacers for Miles Turner and Buddy Hield. But the Pacers want a second first-round selection added to a deal. That would be a first-rounder in 2027 and 2029. Currently, they're just offering a 2027 pick.
I think, for the Lakers, that would have been great. For the Pacers, you obviously, your relationship with Miles Turner has been different since you've already been talking about trading him for a while now.
And DeAndre Ayton, max offer sheet.
Thank you. And then that was like the icing on the cake. Like, no, okay, I'm not wanted here even.
I think there is this notion that this trade would have been like a no-brainer for the Lakers. Like, Pelinka, just go out there, give up future first-round picks. Who knows? The world may not be around in 2029. Do that. Add Hield and Turner. But I got to be honest. Like, are the Lakers that much better if they're giving up future assets in 27 and 29 first-round picks that could be, like, awesome picks?
Sure.
When you're landing Hield and part-time Miles Turner. I like Miles Turner when he can play, blocking shots, hitting threes.
Yeah.
But he plays like 47 games a year, and add him with AD, it's like, cool, they can combine for 82.
Yeah,
like,
combine for 82. I like it.
But my point is, it's not a no-brainer thing for them. Like, sure, they get off of Westbrook, they move on from him.
That's it, though, Deuce. That's where the no-brainer in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because I think your counter is totally fair, but I also look at you got LeBron James right now, and I think a lot of people are doubting LeBron James after last season. Finally going, okay, he's ever since that ankle injury, like he's getting older, but there's still so many powerful things he can do on the floor. Why not keep trying to make sure there's power around him? Having Westbrook on this squad going into this season is not good for the Los Angeles Lakers, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, I think really because the vibe.
That's
right?
it,
right?
mostly.
Yeah.
Because then what are you going to do?
No,
Not start him?
So, but here's the thing. As a general manager, and maybe Pelinka's like, look, I may not last that much longer and I could do a deal like that. But if you are thinking, hey, I want to be here for a long time as a general manager of the Lakers, giving up first-round picks, too, in 27 and 29, when you could be in a complete rebuild and you did it for Hield and for Turner, what does that raise your ceiling? There's zero doubt that adding Miles Turner and Buddy Hield to the Lakers would help them be a better team.
Sure.
I push back that, like, okay, they lost Malik Monk, they add Buddy Hield. What's really better there? But getting Miles Turner, if healthy, would help them. But help them into what? To be a 6th seed in the Western Conference? Adding Buddy Hield and Miles Turner does not make the Lakers a championship contender in the Western Conference. Now, maybe there's a situation, Morgan, where all of a sudden that AD stays healthy.
Yeah.
And that obviously changes everything.
Yeah. I get that. And I just feel like you can't depend on AD's help.
Yeah.
But here's my other thing to the future and the future picks is that because you are in La La Land, are you banking on being that attractive franchise to so many free agents throughout your years that you can do things like this too? I wouldn't know. I've only been in Sacramento and seen the behind the scenes there in a small market. Definitely can't bank on that. But when you're in Los Angeles, everyone wants to be a Laker, right? Like it does something else for their off-court career as well. They just get more games, nationally televised most likely, even if you're on a shittier team, because you're the Lakers. There's going to be a star on there, one star, even if that's what it's going to be in 2027 and 2029. But I don't know. I don't know if that is the thought process, or if you don't bank on that and you go, no, that's just not smart to do.
I just don't think it's smart. I think it would be smarter for them to try to find a way to get Kyrie than do the Hield Turner for multiple future first-round picks. I think that makes more sense. Like adding Kyrie Irving, as talented as he is, and I know as problematic as things can be with him, adding him raises your ceiling as a championship contender more so than adding Hield and Turner, in my opinion. As far as the Westbrook stuff, if he goes to the Pacers, he'll get bought out, apparently. Like, he will not play for the Indiana Pacers if that deal happened. But I also hope that is true, that if a team does acquire Westbrook and they're like, hey, we don't want him here, it can't turn into a John Wall Houston situation where the team who acquires Westbrook goes, hey, just sit at home and collect your check. No, buy the guy out and let him go play basketball somewhere. Tim Bontemps of ESPN had an interesting thought on the Hoop Collective podcast where he says, I think you can make a good case that if Westbrook is not in the Lakers at the start of the season, you can make an argument that he will never play in the NBA again. I think if you look around, where is Westbrook going to go that somebody wants him to be around?
Shit. That's...
Shams also had a note about Westbrook. What's next? Well, Utah, New York, and Indiana are among the teams that have discussed the deals with the Lakers involving Westbrook and draft capital. There appears no deal is imminent in those conversations. One, I think the notion that he would be done in the league is ridiculous.
Okay,
and
why do you think that's so ridiculous when we're talking about a guy that also hasn't been able to change his role on any team in the NBA?
Yeah, and I'm not acting, but can people not change? Like, Russell Westbrook's an adult, and you know what happens? Adversity hits, and you know what you do sometimes? You think a little harder.
That's
you
what I'm
think a
hoping
little
happens.
more, and you go, okay. especially if that happened, where he did get traded, they buy him out.
Let it
he
humble
may
you,
look in
yeah.
the mirror and go, okay, I may have to change my approach a little bit. But what makes Westbrook who he is the edge. That kind of, I got a chip on my shoulder. I'm here to prove people wrong, blah, blah, blah. But you're right. I just think there are definitely teams who would take a chance on him because of what he's able to do. One, if you're like a kind of like team, an average team,
Yeah.
It's a guy that people will come to see. He's 20, 10, and 10. Let's get him out there, get a triple-double. Maybe we win some more games.
Maybe because of this whole situation too, just like you're saying, like even if he doesn't reflect and look in the mirror, it's like he has no choice at a certain point, right? It's not on him. Him and his agent have parted ways. You know, like there's a lot of different things going on in his life where he might not have the power or the choice to really be like, this is what I want on this team. Because they might be like, that's funny. We're actually taking a chance on you, so you're going to listen to us. And that's how it's going to be over here. What team's going to do that? What coach is going to do that in this
you know
league?
what?
I don't know.
Go sign a minimum deal with Miami.
Well, that would be cool because then
Miami.
you'd have no choice but to listen to them.
In the chat, Stephen Brown. What's up, Stephen? Deuce, Turner and Hield had shooting at two positions, of which the Lakers need drastically. Kyrie's been nothing but a cancer to the team the last few years he's been on. Yeah, I mean, I guess, again, my pushback is this. I'm not denying that Turner, Hield would help make the Lakers an improved team next year, but where does it raise their ceiling? How much does it raise their ceiling as a team that could like contend? I don't look at that as a championship contending team. Again, you'd be giving up potentially a first-round pick in 27 and 29. That could be debilitating for a franchise, and we could look back and go, that was not a smart thing because those two teams didn't just turn them into a championship contender.
Yeah.
Where Kyrie, obviously, there's issues there.
Mm-hmm.
He does have a previous relationship with LeBron, right? He might be a little more motivated. I just see that more so. Again, if we could talk about it's a stars league, you had another guy like Kyrie that can go get you buckets.
And he's so good compared to obviously when you look at Miles Turner and Buddy Hield, and Buddy Hield's not going, but Buddy Hield might be in a better position where he's not chucking up as many shots as he was in Sacramento. Miles Turner just depends on his health, right? When he is healthy, it's fun. And then you have AD as well. When he's healthy, it's fun. But you look at adding a piece like Kyrie, it's just a different story. But for the locker room, you just never know what you're going to get 6 months into the season, right? That's always like, that's what you're gambling on. And that's why whenever people talk about these deals with the Sacramento Kings, like these what ifs, it's always like no, because that's not the direction the Kings are trying to go in. They're trying to grow a sustainable future. So I hope.
Man, it's just wild where we are at in the offseason.
I know.
We are going to be waiting around for Westbrook, for Kyrie, for Donovan Mitchell, for KD. You add in Jaylen Brown's name to the mix and maybe a KD deal. It's cray. So cray. We are going to end the audio portion of this podcast now and hang out in the video stream. We appreciate everyone hanging out. We will be back live 10 a.m. on Tuesday. We love you, but we got to go.
You'll have a right rest of your day. See ya.
Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. The podcast that you know. Deuce and Mo.
All right, video people, the live people, appreciate you guys being here. We want to talk with you guys. So if you have questions, comments, we can just chat for a few minutes, probably for like 15 if we want. The biggest thing you can do is hit the thumbs up button. Let's get the thumbs up going in the YouTube chat. It's not because it makes Morgan feel good or me feel good. All it does is help the channel grow. As we are on our pursuit for 8,000 subs, let's do it.
Let's do it.
I have to pee so bad.
You go pee. Thank you guys so much for all the support and being here today on a wonderful Monday. Obviously, there's a lot of fun NBA weird news, rumors, chat going around, which is great. But that's why I think we told you guys too on Wednesdays. I think we're going to start doing night chats on Wednesdays to start getting ready a little bit for the season, you know, trying to stay up late. And obviously it's usually just a different vibe in the night. So yeah, we're going to start doing that starting this Wednesday. Let's see. I'm reading some of your I'm taking the I'm fine. As I read into this. Oh, great. Lizzie talking about the vision board on Wednesday night. Mike Brown, coach of the year. Yeah, I got to do a lot of things. Vision board, Keegan Murray, rookie of the year. Okay, yeah, these are all great ideas for the vision board.
I love vision board ideas. We'll do that live on Wednesday. By the way, just side note, as I think peed 7 gallons just now.
Oh, thank you.
I've been back in the gym now for over a week, like every single day. Well, not 5 days a week. Can I just say this for people who are like, oh, should I move? It's 90% mental at this point. And I've overcome the mental hurdle. You know, just once you're there, you're just there. You get it in. So go get it in today.
Go get it in today. Oh.
Morgan Reagan.
Thank you.
I'm just trying to inspire.
No,
too.
that's really sweet.
Yeah. What else did I want to hit on about King stuff? Am I crazy?
For what?
I saw Davion Mitchell's Instagram post. This might be on my vision board. So he posted this. It's a picture of him, Kevin Huerter, Sabonis, Metu, and there's Quinn Cook. Interesting. The caption says, "We won't let history define our future. Our determination will turn doubters into believers. Hashtag trust your work."
I mean, remember, here, I'm going to tell you this. Remember, every offseason.
Inject that into my veins, Morgan.
Every offseason, going into training camp, every year.
Yeah.
We tell people, don't drink all the Kool-Aid. Don't drink it up. Yeah, I get it. Don't drink it all up. Every year, you sip and you sip and you sip until it's all gone. You got to stop.
No, but time. I think you're being unfair to me. I wasn't the one getting amped up because Tristan Thompson was talking during training camp. That was our guy, Kenny Caraway, who wanted to give the guy a max contract extension.
Oh, Kenny.
When I got Davion Mitchell, Mr. I'm in the gym at 4 a.m., Mr. I have someone filming my practices so I can go back and break down my practice film. The guy who walks in to every Vegas Summer League game with a basketball in his hands. He is obsessed, and he's talking about proving the doubters wrong, turning them into believers.
I love it, but what?
He's talking to you.
No.
He's talking to Sean Cunningham.
I'm not a
He's talking
doubter.
to everyone out there that continues to doubt. The clown who works for BetQL, who is like, oh, the Kings are a joke, and they're going to go win way under 31.5. All those clowns.
That's fine. Believe what you want to believe. Sometimes you can only control what you can control. And sometimes that's controlling your own individual performance. Sometimes that's controlling even how the team is led. You can control that as a player. Yes. Is that going to be the direction in the step Davion Mitchell takes in his game? Possibly. We've seen how much more vocal he's been in this offseason, just in this offseason.
Okay, and that's something that I think is so huge for the Kings this year is
it's big.
Having a guy that will talk a little bit. And when we had Davion on the podcast like a month or two ago,
yeah,
I didn't know what to expect going into it. I thought, yeah, he's nice. He'll answer the questions. But all his media stuff throughout the year is pretty much short to the point.
Mm-hmm.
But you can tell, and he was very vocal with us in some other media stuff he's done, super engaging, and he has made it a point to say that he wants to be more of a vocal guy. Like that would be huge.
He stated it, and he's starting to, just show it within media conversations. Our conversation with him was so fun. It was so fun just hearing this. He's obsessed with the game and hooping and is a student of the game. And you want that type of player on your team, but you want that type of player on your team that can also contribute on the court too, right? And be lead by example as well. And I know some people are like, oh, this undersized guard. I mean, we've seen it happen before in this league. You know, like why can't he be one of those guys going into his second year, by the way, his second season with this team?
Poll question update. Are you okay with the roster if Monty McNair doesn't make another move before opening night?
Okay.
79% of people say, yeah, let's see what it looks like. Does that number surprise you a bit? That's good.
For most, if these are a lot of Kings fans and not just NBA fans, for most Kings fans, yes, it does, because I feel like nobody's ever satisfied, which I'm fine with to a realistic point, but I think that's a very realistic percentage. I'm here for it.
And then we get childish
Yes.
DiCaprio.
What we got?
I think we are overhyping Davion a bit too much. We just said he could be a better leader.
I was going to say, wait, what's
Who's
over?
hyping him? Who's hyping him?
No one's even saying that he's going to be an all-star, most improved player.
It's so weird. Anytime you say anything good about a player who's young, it's like, or anyone's like, hey, you're overhyping him. No one's hyping him.
You can talk about here's how I look at all players in this league. Because this happens whenever we talk about anything good about a player. Just because you're talking about the good stuff doesn't mean that you're not even thinking about or factoring in the flaws. You understand the flaws are there in what can still not help out their game. But at the same time, by being excited about certain aspects of their game, you're not overhyping them.
You're allowed to be excited about potential. That's okay.
Absolutely.
That's okay. It doesn't mean it's for sure happening.
Especially when they've shown certain things to show potential.
Mark says, Deuce and Mo, would you rather have Tobias Harris and Matisse Thybulle or Harrison Barnes / Holmes? Well, here's my thing with that scenario. I don't know that that's something that would intrigue the Sixers at all. But, you know, I think you'd have to put more in there because of Harris's deal. He makes a lot of money.
Yeah.
There's a lot. Much more would have to be added. The other thing is, like, Tobias Harris, in my opinion, is a 4. He's a power forward. That's what he's been playing. You can call me crazy for this. Anyone can call me crazy. I do not want the Kings to make a move for someone that's going to be in Keegan Murray's way. Keegan Murray can play now. I think he's a good player.
Uh-huh.
You know, I'm realistic with like what he could do next year. I'm not saying he's going to be a 20-point a game guy next year, obviously, but I think he can. If Keegan Murray was like 13, 14 a game and efficient, that wouldn't surprise anyone. Like, because he can hit open shots, he can get to the line. Like, I would not be surprised by that.
Knows how to get to the hoop.
If you had Tobias Harris, like, he's going to play a lot of minutes, and now you would be banking on that. You believe that Keegan could play the 3. I'm not sure if I'm there yet, and maybe he can. And that's ultimately, if the front office views it like that, like, hey, we actually are very confident he could play the 3.
That's a great breakdown.
Yeah.
Yeah, because right away, my first impression of is like, oh yeah, I've always loved Tobias Harris, like love. And then you look at someone like Thybulle and obviously what he can contribute defensively. It's like, well, yes, I love this combo, but that angle is very interesting because you're right. Like looking at the growth of a King. How many times have I talked about the Kings not being able to develop young talent the right way within their organization forever? And that wouldn't necessarily be the answer. I wish Tobias Harris could play more of the 3, but that probably wouldn't be the way they would go.
Keegan, at this point, to me, is a 4. And in some lineups, a small ball 5. He could be like a small ball 5 in the NBA, I think, depending on matchups, lineups, and all that. But I think he is a 4.
The small ball 5.
Yeah.
I'm not.
He's good rebounder. He's long.
I'm not saying that you're wrong. I just don't. I don't see it.
I mean, why don't you? I'm not saying he's going to play a lot small. I just think he can. Look around the league.
But me saying I just don't see it. I'm not even saying you're wrong. So like you can't get angry about that. I'm not arguing it. I'm just saying that. Yeah, I just don't. I would need to see him battle up against some NBA bigs and actually see it in front of my eyes to actually believe that could be something he could do.
Let's get some more comments. Roman, I think he not only is drinking the purple Kool-Aid, I think he just chugged about 7 gallons.
Oh God, what happened?
Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Kings are going to be somewhere between the 4 and 7 seed this year. Easy.
Roman,
Easy.
throw up the Kool-Aid. Throw it up right now. That's not too much. Too much,
You
bud.
have purpled out at this point. You're not seeing clearly. Well, he's right. Hey, save this, dude. Because if you're right, Roman, if you are right and the Kings are a 4 seed, you are going to be on our podcast one day. We're just going to break this down.
He's not right, but
I love
it's purple Revitalite is what he said.
My favorite part about that is, hey, I think there'd be 4 to 7, and he put easy.
I appreciate the confidence.
Oh man. Also side note, I don't know if James Ham has put this out yet, but he does those off the record monthly chats with people. Well, you're not available to do it that day. He invited both of us to be on Thursday for that. It'll be just me with Ham, and I believe Cunningham and Brendan Nunes will be there.
Fun.
Yeah.
You guys have fun without me.
Can't wait to see what kind of questions. It's off the record. So I'm supposed to let it fly? Let's go.
Oh, interesting.
I would say anything anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh man. RP says Jordy already said he sees Keegan as a 4-3, not 3-4. Glad this new coaching staff actually understands how developing players works. They need to stop putting players in situations to fail.
That's a fair point because yes, that's happened far too many times, and mostly because they didn't have enough on the roster to, fill the voids with other players. It's usually they're stunting the development of these younger guys just to be like, all right, we got to do it this way because we have nothing else.
Yeah, I think you just need to be careful, especially with what I know. Again, it's just summer league, blah, blah, blah. I get that. Mm-hmm. I just think Keegan Murray should be the starting power forward opening night.
Oh,
I have zero issue with that.
I'm
I think
with you on that.
his shooting did enough. What I saw in Summer League did enough that I go, oh, he will be okay. I'm not saying he's going to be some star player in that role his rookie year, but playing with Fox, Sabonis, if Herter's in the starting lineup.
Show me who else should be then. Because that's in my opinion, especially after all the Summer League play that we saw again. It's a Summer League. It is what it is. We saw this player show and look like he could be NBA ready. So why wouldn't you go in that direction right away? You never know with the coaching staff, though. No. We talked about that with how they feel about rookies at times. They don't want to put them in certain situations. But we'll just have to see. But yes, I'm with you on that.
Let's get to some more comments. Fedora Ham is going to check Deuce. Ham better not be wearing that dumb fedora.
Hey, you be nice about that fedora.
You're so soft. It's okay.
Why do you? You just want? No. Let me ask you this: why do I have to shit on and hate everything that you shit on and hate? Huh? Why? I don't need to. I have my own personality, I like the effing fedora.
You like the fedora on James Ham.
I love it now.
You think it looks good on James Ham. You think
hot as hell.
He is like Adam Levine 2000. Or is it
More
Adam
like
Levine,
Brad Pitt.
I meant who used to wear the fedora? Jason Mraz?
No, Justin Timberlake, you idiot.
Okay.
He wore a fedora.
Okay.
Oh, and Jason Mraz did.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. You're going to.
Justin.
Yes, shut up.
Okay. Here. No, you shut up. I'm going to show you.
Literally, look, you search Jason Mraz. What comes up, Morgan? Him in a fedora.
Justin Timberlake.
Oh, and what comes up? Oh, no. You're typing fedora with it.
Because.
I have no doubt that he wore a fedora. But Jason Mraz, that was his thing.
Fedora.
Bet.
There you go.
Okay, was that Is Justin Timberlake known in circles for wearing a fedora, or is Jason Mraz? Let's talk about
Mraz 100% is, but Justin Timberlake 100% wore just as many fedoras, but because he's way more popular, they have him in different fashion shit as well.
No one thinks about a fedora with Justin Timberlake.
I do.
No one.
Does anyone else?
No one.
Gotta. Ugh.
Guys, unbelievable. Lizzie says the fedora is bus and bussa. Bussin'. Fedora is push and pee. Okay.
That's.
The Burtman says, Deuce, it's off the record. If Ham wears a fedora, you have to go off on him. Yes.
Oh my God. You guys are encouraging bad behavior.
Let's see here. Justin Timberlake had top ramen hair. Okay.
Wait, Deuce doesn't like a hat and Mo attacks him on a personal level? I did not attack him on a personal level.
Mike Loop, who are you two looking to D up for the Kings media pickup game? Deuce checking Casey and Mo, locking up Brendan, D'Lo on Ham. I mean, here's the thing. We know one thing. Casey can play.
Yeah.
Casey can play. I have
I'd
zero
want
doubt.
him on my team. Yeah.
Casey can play. Morgan used to be able to play. I
Yeah.
think if you gave her
That's fair.
a month ramp up, she played at a high level.
2 months. Yeah.
Damian, I've never seen play, but he's athletic enough, strong enough that like he will.
He's
at
in
least-
shape.
Yes. Brendan, as I've mentioned before,
Would
to him,
murder his ankles. Murder.
zero concern.
Yeah.
Zero concern. Trust me. I've had this thing in our Discord where there's 2 16-year-old kids, one Pernille, as some of you guys may know, and this other kid whose name is I Love Hallie. He is obsessed with Halliburton. They are convinced they would destroy me. I said I would beat them if it was 2-on-1. I have zero concern.
Why are you talking shit with kids?
Because these kids need to be put into check. They need to
Oh
understand who they're going up
my
against.
God.
As far as media people in soccer, I'm trying to think of who else would be legit, like playing.
Jason
Casey-
Ross has a shot, but
Jason
that's
Ross
it.
has a shot.
That's
Jason,
it.
Yeah, I mean, yes, Jason Ross can shoot it. Cunningham, no.
Can you,
Brendan can. I mean, Brendan, I think could be like, you know, he could be on the court.
I
He's
feel
allowed
like
on the court.
if you were gonna have someone like Sarah Hodges out there, I can't picture her being like amazing at basketball, but I could picture her effort being there, that she would surprise you, and those times when you leave her open, you know, she would capitalize on those situations. Leave her open. She'll do something. What?
Bald Doggy says, your show would be much more entertaining if Deuce didn't yell like a child. Don't understand why a grown man would act like that. All right, Bald Dog. You know what we'll do for now on?
What?
You know what we'll do for now on, just for you.
Hey, I like that.
Let's talk basketball for Bald Dog. So there's a lot of movement going around in the NBA. Durant, where do you think Durant goes, Morgan? Where do you think he should land?
I think that if he lands with the Boston Celtics,
Oh, wow.
shit could get real.
Well, let's talk about the salary cap implications and like just how all the juggling may work. If you have a comment, drop it below. We can talk about it.
Sweaty balls.
I will yell if I want. All right. We need to have. This is
what I did
entertainment.
there?
We're just talking. We're having a good time. Why are you getting all bent out of shape because I raise my voice every once in a while?
He's just an excited guy.
God.
Come on.
Get the hell out of here. Ellis. Deuce used to work on Good Day Sacramento. He learned to be eccentric from Marcus Allen. Okay.
What?
Rewind. I love this. I feel like this is a preview of what's coming up on Wednesday night when we're not doing a podcast and we're just talking. Marcus Allen didn't work there when I was there. He was gone already.
Yeah.
I am who I am.
This is what you got, guys.
I've been the same way for a long time.
The only thing you've honestly have calmed down, and I kind of appreciate this, you're not as mean to people. Like, if anything, you've not grown soft in any ways. You're much a kinder of a human because you realize, like, oh, you can also get your point across being kind. Like, you know, he would be like, oh, it's comedy, so, you know, I can be an ass. But it's like, sometimes it's, you know, like Joan Rivers was funny, but she was also a bully in a lot of ways,
Okay.
you know? So that's like the comedy line you got to cross.
First of all, the only time I was ever mean to anyone is when you had weird people
Yes.
on calling in, and I would clown them.
Yes.
Yeah, one of my like pet peeves for radio back in the day, sports radio back in the day, you know, when calls are like a big part of sports radio, is when like someone would call in with the most outrageous question, or like you'd be talking Kings, you'd be like deep into like, all right, what's the win total? And you go, all right, let's go out to Cliff in Sacramento. What's up, Cliff? Hey, guys, I'm curious, when you look at UC Davis, like, do you think they have a chance in the Big West? And my pet peeve, the radio guy would be like, yeah, that's interesting. Let's look at Davis's schedule. No, we're talking about the Kings. You know what I'd say to that guy? I'm like,
I know what
are you
you'd
doing?
say.
We're
Yes.
talking about the Kings and you're calling in for Be real. Be like that's not mean. That's being
but then,
real.
No, but at the same time, that puts someone in an uncomfortable position because sometimes they feel vulnerable calling up a show and being like, all right, like I don't do this often, but I'm going to do this now. And so I would actually, if I had the opportunity first to talk to them, would be like, oh, that's not what we're talking about right now. But thank you so much, Chris. We'll get to that later.
No, because we're not.
Wow.
Steven says, you just got to meet Deuce with the same energy. He's not that mean. I am not a mean person.
He's not. I will admit that he's not a mean person.
Let's get to the Kings media basketball game. Who else are we missing that would be legit?
I mean, you can't even put would Sam Amick be there just because he lives around?
Yeah, I mean, Sam's a non-issue, but
Oh,
yes.
Sam's a non-issue. Damn.
Non-issue.
Okay. I'm trying to think who else would be in that room, at the introductory press conference.
Frankie.
Oh yeah, Frankie. I don't know his game.
You know.
I'll go too small, Frankie.
Yep.
Too small. God.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not very deep.
Yeah. Oh, Matt George. Could he Matt George play?
Anyway, so Kyle Draper got mentioned. I think Kyle can play a little bit. Kyle's got good size.
Yeah.
If you put KD in there, yeah. I mean, KD played in the WNBA.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Post
if you put
her
her
up,
in there, sure.
play above the rim. Let's effing go.
Mark Jones can play. Mark Jones can play. I think Mark Jones still plays, and Mark Jones is in really good shape.
Ooh.
Mike Loop says Matt George would be awesome.
At
Stop
what?
it. Stop
At
it.
what?
Stop
And I would say this to Matt George's face. I'd be like, what would you be awesome at, huh? Tell me.
Watch him be like a bootleg Andre Kirilenko.
Wait, Matt can play. Oh my God, stop.
Hey, Andre Kirilenko back in the day was legit.
Hey, Lizzie has a point. Kenny Thomas would be pretty good.
I don't put him in that category.
Yeah. Former player.
Yeah.
Matt Barnes would be. Matt said he doesn't play basketball anymore though. So
Who? Matt Barnes?
Matt Barnes. I'm always like, man, what if you were out there doing that? And we would always talk about the contracts that they were giving some of these old guys. And I was like, would you go back? And he was like, I have not played in years and years. So no, I wouldn't. And I was like, what if the price was right? And he was like, then maybe.
Accurately incorrect. Deuce, I know this is about the Kings, but did you see that Triple H has been named as head of WWE Creative? Yeah, this is post-podcast right now. We're hanging out and talking. This is just us chatting. You guys can ask about whatever you want. WWE, I mean, Vince McMahon is out. He's done in WWE. All those allegations. I mean, I feel like there should be a movie made or like a documentary or whatever you want to call it, a series made about what has transpired in WWE over the years, but specifically this last 18 to 24 months with the rise of Nick Khan, power plays galore, all these allegations against Vince and some of the stuff that's been dug up about him and what he has done. It is wild to think that WWE is still around and Vince McMahon is not in the picture. I thought he would die before he would leave WWE.
Because even all this legal stuff that's coming up, it's like, let's be real.
It reminds me of Succession.
Everyone knew there's lots and lots and lots of skeletons. It's just who knows where the skeletons are buried are the people that are coming out and saying more that is putting the pressure on making the change for WWE. So yeah, he's been a piece of shit. He's still a piece of shit. Like, I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm eager to see what it looks like now. You know, Triple H is a bright guy. What's he gonna be able to do with the product? He did some amazing things when he ran NXT, and now he's back in the fold. So, yeah, it's all fascinating.
It is fascinating. I would love if they had cameras and so much more back there to get so many more details. And hey, maybe one day we'll get that.
This is a dramatic shakeup, though.
Oh.
Like Vince had his fingers. I mean, on everything. He was always there. He literally is talking to the announcers in their headsets the entire.
Hey, Stephanie, can you say thank you,
Right,
Vince?
right.
Thank you, Vince.
Well, no, that was.
I
not.
know. I'm kidding because he was obviously gone at that point.
Swipa
Barf.
says, should the Kings bring back the city jerseys again for next season? Well, they will have city jerseys next year, but they won't be the version that you saw last year. They rotate those every year. So, yeah. I think I've seen them, but I can't remember what they look like.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I can't remember.
Okay.
Off the top of my head. But no, all the teams are changing them.
Yeah. I feel they change them every year. It's all about that money.
Yeah, I think the league will get to a point where maybe the changes won't be as dramatic. But yeah, those jerseys, all the league, like people make fun of NBA teams for the jerseys all the times, but they sell well.
Money's in the merch.
Yeah. Bring back the 2000s logo. Yeah, that'd be good. I like that logo. It's nostalgic more than anything, though. Any other thoughts, Morgan, before we close this down?
Close this down. No. I'm excited to see if we actually get more movement in the KD conversations even this week. And like we always say, if there's something that happened on Saturday, shit, we're going live on Saturday.
I'm actually going to be at a bachelor party.
Shit, I'm going live on Saturday.
If a big thing happened this weekend, this bachelor party is interesting.
Just take an Uber back.
Here's the thing. Has there ever been in the history of mankind a bachelor party that is been hosted in Forestville? Is it Forest Hill? Forest
dude.
Hill, California. Tell me,
Let's
anyone in the
see
chat, does anyone know anything about Forest Hill, California?
People live there.
Why not just have it in Lake Tahoe? It's not that. You might as well just keep going up the hill and have the bachelor party in beautiful Lake Tahoe. Forest Hill. Okay, some golf courses. Deuce doesn't golf. Deuce doesn't golf. What, am I supposed to go to some dive bar? What's the plan here?
Yeah, I don't know, dude.
No one has done a bachelor party.
Yeah,
no one has done that.
I don't. Here, let's see if there because I used to play all the time in Forest Hill. We had a lot of practices there when I was in junior
basketball
high.
courts up there?
I was in AAU. We'd go Forest Hill, Colfax. Like a lot of our AAU team was that way.
And I shouldn't judge it too much because I went to a bachelor party in Oatman, Arizona, and it was by far the best bachelor party I've ever been.
Is Forest Hill a good place to live? Although lacking has plenty of positive qualities.
Thanks.
Yeah, small town with not much to do.
Sounds
but
perfect.
the people are very friendly. You like nice people.
Can't wait. No, it'd be fun hanging out with some longtime friends. Seriously, appreciate you guys hanging out with us. We'll be back live again Tuesday morning, 10 a.m. Pacific time. In addition to that, we'll be live again Wednesday night. So make sure you're subscribed to YouTube and Twitch so you know when we go live. We love you guys so much, but we got to go.
Thanks for being here, Deuce Bags and Morons. We'll catch you tomorrow. Bye.
Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. The podcast that you know.